Hi everyone, welcome back to the Reclaimed Ranch. My name is Tara and happy Tuesday. So I've pulled a few more things out of my stash and it's kind of a bird theme, I guess, this time around again. So we are going to make over this little metal clock I got for like $4.99 at the Goodwill. And it does work, so that's good. So I am going to use the avian mold from Redesigned by Prima. And it's a bird mold and it has this big long branch on it. And I want to do two of these up the sides of the clock there. And then I'm going to end up painting them and we'll see how it turns out. So I'm using the DAS or DOS air dry clay for this one. I didn't want to use the resin because it's got to go into a circular motion or a half circle, so it's just a little bit easier to work with clay when you have to go that much around something. So I push it in there and I have a little scraper tool that I use to get the excess off and then use gravity to pull it out, and then I use my little X-Acto knife there to cut out all the extra pieces and then see how I can mold up along over the edges and stuff. That's kind of cool. So then I'm going to use my Titebond quick and thick glue with a little artist brush to glue it down. And I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. And then I'll let that dry for a little bit. And then we'll head on over and start painting. And the paint I used is my Fusion in the color Eucalyptus. That's the base coat. And then I did use bayberry, chocolate, and peony for the flowers, the leaves, and the branches. I don't know, are you guys ready for spring? I keep doing all these spring items because I'm so sick of the winter weather. Even though it's been, I can't complain, it's been pretty dang mild. We did have a pretty cold snap there for about a week, but for the most part, it's just kind of dreary and cold and just, I love the sun. You know, it just makes me happy when the sun's out. So even if it was a cold day and the sun was shining, I'd be happy with that. But with all this rain and stuff, I just want spring to come and have the birds back and the flowers come out. And this video is ending up more of a rant than anything. Sorry. So anyway, I did 2 coats of the eucalyptus with the Fusion, and then I went in and I started to use the little tiny artist brush. Now, this is something like, this is a really time consuming project because of the little painting, but it just makes the biggest difference. I could have just left it the eucalyptus and did like a dark wax over it, but I do that a lot, and so I thought I'd kind of break out of my mold a little bit and actually try some artist painting and make this piece a little bit more unique and different. So let me know what your thoughts are on this, if this is something that you would do yourself or if you would prefer like just the wax. Even a white wax would have looked really pretty with this eucalyptus color, but dare to be different, I guess, huh? Okay, and so this is where we're going to use the DIY dark wax. And I'm going to put a little bit all over and then just take my shop towel and rub it right back off. And that really makes it all kind of cohesive and blend together. And it brings out some of the detail in the bird up on the top as well. I was actually happy to find a clock that still works from the thrift store. It's kind of nice. So let me know if you guys are interested in purchasing any of these items. I can keep them aside and put them on my website for you. However, the last one is really big, so I'll probably have to put that in my booth, one of my booths. And you'll see why here in a little bit. I did add some more items to my website, some vintage. And so if you're interested in that, you can go to thereclaimedranch.com and check that out. And the second project here we have, I got this little black mailbox from a friend of mine, and I'm going to use the casting resin, and this is that same mold, but we're going to use the birds this time. So it's part A, part B, equal parts, and you mix it together and it sets up within 10 minutes. That's why I love this, is because I'm very impatient. Don't want to have to wait 24 hours for an actual epoxy to set up, so that makes it nice to get these projects done quick. So there's that. You can see that hole in the front part of the mailbox. I want to cover that up. So I'm going to be making the entire bird part on the bottom. And for the most part, it covers it up. I think it'll be fine. It's just kind of like in between the branches. You can still see where the hole is, but that's okay. I'm going to use DIY's old 57 paint to paint this. It's kind of a bright turquoise blue color, and it was a little too bright, so I ended up using some dark wax in the end, and that really toned it down and made it look like it had been outside for a while. I also am going to be using the Postal Birds transfer from Redesigned by Prima. And I think that brand is just a little bit harder to put on to objects than the IOD. But it's such a beautiful transfer that I'm willing to work with it. So I'm going to go ahead and just pour in my resin into all the molds and let it kind of fill in all the little areas. You can use like a toothpick or something to help guide it into the really, really small details. But for the most part, this just kind of flowed in everywhere I wanted it to go. And then I always use 91% alcohol in a little spritz bottle, and I spritz it as soon as I'm done filling the molds. I had some extras, so I just went ahead and filled it, the whole thing. But the alcohol removes all the like little micro bubbles, or not all, but for the most part, it'll take most of them out. And then you have a nice bubble-free resin mold to work with and paint. And I don't know about you guys, but as I age gracefully, I've noticed that when I was younger, I would never buy anything with like birds or bees, but that just totally is like my jam now, and flowers, and I don't know, let me know in the comments if that's the same as you guys. It's just different how we all change as we age, and our tastes of home decor and things like that change. I think it's kind of funny in a way. And I look back at some of the home decor I used to have, and I was like, why? So this is that spot that I want to try and cover. But it's a cute little mailbox that you can hang in a little porch area. And here's that old 57, so it's pretty bright, but I do like the color. It's kind of a neat color. And I put 2 coats of the DIY paint on, let them dry in between, and then I did seal with the liquid patina, and I let that sit overnight to cure before I did the transfer. And that way I knew for sure that it wouldn't pull up. So I went ahead and pulled that mold out, and there was quite a bit of excess, so I'm using my little X-Acto knife with a cutting mat to remove that. And here is the little bird I used from that transfer, the postal birds. And then this was perfect because that transfer has like old stamps, you know, like mail stamps from back in the day. So I was able to use that right here, which is perfect for a mailbox, I thought. And again, with all these little intricate details, it's a lot harder when you don't have one specific like big object. Like the bird was pretty easy, but these little tiny pieces of writing makes it a little bit more difficult. You just got to take your time. And then I am using the dark wax again, and that's going to seal up everything. And I'm going to wipe away, bring out all those details in those birds. And then it tones down that color quite a bit. So I was very, very happy with this outcome. And this is that big project I was telling you about. I found this piece, looks like at the Value Village, for $4.99. It's a Hobby Lobby piece. So you don't want to overlook those pieces at the thrift store because there's so many different things you can do with this. I did not like that middle part, so I am taking that off. Took a little time and some elbow grease to get underneath that. It was like a resin mold of some kind. It wasn't wood. And so there was little nails that I had to remove, and I ended up sanding it down a little bit. So it, you know, it does take some effort, but in the long run, I think it turned out a lot better. And I have that little vacuum cleaner, but I wouldn't recommend getting that one. It's just a little Walmart one, but if you have little tiny vacuum cleaners, they make it handy. So I just sanded it all down, wiped it off, and this is spackling from the Dollar Tree. I'm just filling in. They didn't fill in their little holes from the nail gun that they used, which I thought was weird, but. And then I'm going to use it to fill in some of the divots that I made getting that mold off. So while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and paint the outside. This is that paint that I mixed. It was the Cowgirl Coral from DIY. A little bit of that with the Victorian lace from my Fusion line. And it just makes this beautiful light peach color. And it's very, very like smooth and easy to use. So don't be afraid to mix up new colors on your own. You can just do little testers if you want, but it's always fun to bring up your own color line for the spring. So I believe I did 3 coats of this because this is like MDF board. And so it soaks the paint in quite a bit. That first layer soaked in really, really well. And so I did do 3 coats. And then for that middle part, I'm going to use my Victorian lace. And a lot of you guys ask about these little bottles that I have. I'm going to go ahead and link it down below. I got them on Amazon. And they make it so nice to not have to open the paint lids. And this, I think, this came from Recycled Papers, this decoupage paper. It's beautiful. And this was my inspiration for the peach color. I wanted to bring out the colors of the flowers. So we're going to take this piece and decoupage that in the middle. And I'm going to use the liquid patina from DIY to do that. So I always do a starter strip and then add the bottom. And I use my cellophane or saran wrap to get most of the wrinkles out. But then I go back and use my heat gun. And it just, I tell you what, you guys, I don't know if you can see it, but it just takes those wrinkles right out. Makes it completely flat. It's so nice. And then I go back over and do the liquid patina on top to seal it in. And if those wrinkles come back, I do the same thing. I take my heat gun and go back over, and it'll lift the paper up and then lay it down flat. It's really cool. So that's a cool little trick for you. And then what I did was I took the paint that I've been using and I just, whatever was on the paintbrush, I dabbed it and kind of blended it in to make it look like it wasn't just a piece of paper stuck on there. I wanted it to look like it had always been in there. And the sides were a little plain, so I went back to that Postal Birds transfer and found some words to just kind of put along the sides there. So of course the wording is the hardest, but it makes a big impact. So it was definitely worth it. So you just use your little tool that it comes with, pull it up, take your time, and then make sure to burnish it in with the paper or your hand or whatever. And that way the transfer adheres all the way down into that wood. So I did that, and then I did one up on top of the birds there, the very, very top. And then I'm going to use the DIY dark wax to just outline the trim. I didn't put it on the image itself, but I just wanted to darken up the trim, kind of like it was before. And it really, really makes it pop. So let me know what you guys think, if you would have done something different. Again, we're going to just be kind of clearing out my stash. I've been so good not to go thrifting because I have so much stuff to go through. But it's kind of fun because you forget after a while. You forget what you have. So it's kind of like thrifting all over again anyway, but I'm not having to pay anything. So anyway, let me know what your favorite item was for today. Again, if you want to purchase any of these, let me know in the comments, and that way I can hold it and get a hold of you or put it up on the website, whatever you prefer. And here they are, all finished. I like this little mailbox. It turned out pretty cute. But I think for me, the big project was my favorite, this bird picture here. Right, you guys, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you back on Friday for more of my stash. Take care. Bye.